Hey guys, so if you haven't yet checked out last week's podcast episode, you're missing out. It was our first of our love series, and what we talked about was how your definition and your partner's definition of love is so crucial for the relationship to work. So a lot of you have been asking me, well, Jay, what's your definition of love? And that's a great question. I try not to give anyone one definition of it. It's really for you to find and discover on your own, but I will share. My definition comes from a book that I absolutely love, and I've always talked about it on here. It's All About Love by Bell Hooks. And in her book, she says that she also struggled with finding the definition of love, and she stumbled across this definition. And so the definition comes from M. Scott Peck, who is a psychiatrist. He wrote a book called The Road Less Traveled in 1978, I believe it was published. And so he says and suggests that love is the will to extend one's self for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. And I just resonated with that definition. I feel like it encompasses everything that it takes to truly love someone. That the focus is not only on your own spiritual growth, but it can also be another person's spiritual growth. And of course, those should align in some form. And so that is my special definition of love. And so surely spiritual growth has its own definition, of course. And for me, it's just the idea of self-improvement and betterment. It also is not anything dealing with the ego or being selfish, right? Because then that is definitely not towards your spiritual growth. That's more of a stunted growth or something that needs to heal through. So if you are aware of who you are truly, you have to figure out who you are first, what you need, what you desire in order to thrive. And it should all be towards the goal of doing better, being a better person, being the best version of yourself. So that's why it's important to love yourself first, and then define what love is to you. And then so only then we'll be able to not only tell but show someone how to love us or how we desire to be loved, and vice versa. It's the exchange that is also important. And so nowadays you normally see people trying to force relationships with others prematurely without doing the work on themselves, without healing, without trying to evolve. And so that's where we have a lot of mishaps, miscommunications, and other things that can happen. And so yes, it doesn't mean that you can never find love under those situations or conditions or circumstances, but it does take an extra amount of patience, an extra amount of strength to deal with all of that. And a lot of us also seek the love that we're supposed to give ourselves in other people. So we expect the other person to love us into our spiritual growth, right? Love us into happiness, love us into mental wellness and mental health, love us into success. And we're basically putting that job onto someone else, that task in someone else's hands, when really and truly it's supposed to be inner work that we're supposed to be doing. And so that's why I also tend to focus on the idea that the people that are loving you right now are loving you in the state in which you are right now. So they're loving this version of you, whether that's healed or unhealed. So if you haven't healed yet, if you're still operating in survival mode, and they're coming in and loving all up on you, they're loving that version of you that is stuck in survival mode. So I talk about this in the coming weeks on the coming podcast episodes. where we'll discuss how to recognize it and what to do about it. Because clearly, once you start to love yourself, you will gradually change into this better version of yourself, right? And it will come with boundaries, it will come with differences that the person who loves you now may not be willing to deal with. So it's important that we dive deep and we do it. I know you're scared. A lot of people are scared to get to this point because they don't want to ruin everything, and they don't want to do the work because they don't want to rock the boat per se. But you're going to need to rock that boat. You need to get through that turbulence to continue on to your destination. Can't avoid it. So thank you guys to all you guys who tune in on the YouTube channel and to those who tune in on Spotify. I do appreciate it. See you guys next week.